Hello guys, welcome once again. I am Esther Zoe, convener of Hanga with Zoe and host of the Proactivity Inner Circle, for which this video is being recorded. So today we are going to explore a very integral part of what we are starting out with in the inner circle, but then something I also believe would benefit you and is important for your knowledge, regardless of if you're part of the inner circle or not. And so today we are going to talk about self-appraisals and self-evaluation. Mind you, this is the end of the year 2021. This is December 10th to be precise, 2021. And like every end of the year, this is a time of deep introspection, thinking about how your past year has been, with an intention to make the next year or your next plans or your next phase and segments of life, better than the previous one. And that is the whole essence and the whole idea of self-appraisals and self-evaluations. You want to find out how do these things work. What does it even mean to self-appraise yourself? What does it mean to evaluate yourself? What does it entail? How do I go about it? That is what this video is here for. And so I'm just going to share my screen with you so that we can go into the meeting proper. All right, so here we are, and we're starting with self-appraisals and evaluation, like previously said. So to appraise, as we saw, as it's shown here, means to take stock of previous actions, a set of actions, in an attempt to ascertain the effectiveness of those actions or those events, so as to find a way to enlist it in accomplishing, a preferred goal, a desired goal. And that's the whole essence of appraisals. You appraise yourself because you want to find out, how did I do? I said I was going to do this in this way. How far? How was it? How did it turn out? How effective was it? I wanted, I had these ideas or these plans, this set of goals I hoped I would achieve, in the year 2021, and this is December. So let's see, how has it been so far? How effective have I been? What did I spend the last 11 plus months doing? How have I become a better person than who I was at the start of the year? What has the last few months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds added to me? How have I become, closer to my desired goal? So that's the whole idea of appraisal. When you appraise yourself or you evaluate yourself, you're trying to evaluate your worth, your significance, your experiences, your status, how far so far. I think that's just the phrase that, or the sentence that just, sums it up, how far so far. Okay, so that's what appraisals are about. And it's important to understand why the need to self-evaluate, why the need to self-appraise yourself, to self-appraise, sorry. And I have a list of um of points here, many of which are closely related, but they pretty much explain themselves. Okay, so you evaluate yourself to discover your overall performance. How did I do? Self-evaluation is to life what examination is to classrooms, or the school setting, the academic setting. And the idea of evaluation is, you want to know, how have I fared so far? What's my overall performance? What have I done? How have I attained what I hope to attain? You also want to discover your weaknesses. Okay, so what are my weaknesses? What do I see as roadblocks um over the past few months, over the past few weeks, over the past few days, depending on what you scope you're praising. Because when it comes to the concept of goal setting or proactive living, there's this constant or consistent self-introspection that you don't need to wait till the end of the year to to evaluate yourself. You can do it every minute, every second, depending on how conscious, how self-conscious you are, right? So you want to find out your weaknesses. what what are my flaws? Am I still as dirty in the place of housekeeping in 2020 as I am in 2021? Did I get better? Did I get worse? Am I still that nagging wife I was in 2020? Or my intentions to overcome them, were they successful in 2021? I decided that okay, I was not going to I wasn't going to hang out with the wrong crowd so that I can stop smoking. So let's see, how far did I keep up? Did I keep on hanging with the wrong crowd? And did I keep smoking? And what exactly caused all that? You want to discover what your weaknesses are. That's what evaluation helps you to do. Sometimes you think you are doing so well until you go back and take a more objective view at what you're doing, and then you realize that okay, maybe not as much. So you also discover your strengths. What skills have I garnered in the last few months, weeks, days? How have I become stronger? How have I become more resilient? How have I become more dedicated? How have I become more intentional? How have I become more consistent? How have I become, better at what I am doing? Have I this skill I was learning? How have I upgraded it? This platform I was, a part of. How have I been beneficial to them? What are my strengths? What strengths have I garnered? Did I take courses that improve my intellectual capacity? Did I, open or explore more streams of income that bolstered my financial prowess? What did I do? What's my strength? It helps you, self-evaluation helps you to find that out. Then you also find out effective and ineffective methods of carrying out a task or an assignment. For example, the instance I gave about leaving bad friends in an attempt to curb the addiction of smoking. You might say, okay, I thought that shutting them off, cutting them off from social media platforms was going to be enough. But I kept hanging with them on the physical. So even though I wasn't following them on social media, I still had physical friends who spurred me to smoke. So that method was not effective. Or I shouted at my friends and told them they were all, you know, they were all bad people because they made me smoke. And so far, I think um, we don't talk anymore, but I don't think I like that chasm. I don't think I like that friction. So maybe I didn't handle it effectively. Okay, this is in typical life, but it could also be in the aspects of any other thing. Maybe you wanted to read more books this year and you started out saying, okay, I was going to read 36 books by the end of the year, roughly 3 a month. And then you said, okay, and then you started out in January, you read 3, in February, you read 0, in March, you read 5, in April, you read 0, in May, you read 1, in June, you read 2. You want to ask yourself, okay, this randomization, why am I not able to meet these 3 books a month target I gave to myself? Is it because I just lazy about and just expect books to fall on my lap? Is it because I'm picking books randomly and not in line with what I am feeling, facing the season of life I presently am in? Okay, why is this method not working? That's something you get to realize when you take personal self-evaluations, because if you don't do that, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. You're bound to keep repeating the mistakes, and you find yourself walking in circles, busy but not productive. You also find out your pitfalls, your setbacks. Okay, what happened? Okay, I lost my mom. That's made me, this is an instance, please. So probably you lost your mom and that's made you depressed for 3 months, and you just didn't see the will to leave in that 3 months. So that's something you can tell yourself, okay, yeah, I lost my mom in maybe February, March. I just didn't find the will to leave. April till now, I've just been, floating autopilot. So okay, I think maybe I didn't handle that loss very well. How can I handle it better? How can I heal so that I can become even better and more efficient in what I am doing? Okay, so it also helps you to discover insights that will aid your future goal setting. I said one or two things about this, but just to throw a little more light, when you evaluate, you find out ways of making setting better goals. So there's this instance that is true for me and which I always love to share when I talk to people about goal setting, which is the concept of the fact that that environment plays a huge role on the effectiveness of your systems. Okay, I won't go so deeply into it because I have another video for it. So, but environment plays a deep role into the effectiveness of your systems. So say you were in you were alone, probably a student living alone in school. You had your time, you decided whatever you wanted to do with your time, and nobody had to interfere, and so you were maybe 90% efficient and productive, and you know you did your goals, you performed your tasks optimally, and then you move maybe for holidays or you're done with school, and then you come back home where you have siblings, younger siblings or older siblings, doesn't really matter, but you have siblings. Pardon the noise at the background. You have siblings, you have parents, you have chores, responsibilities, and all that. You definitely do not expect to continue working at the frequency you were in school at home with the same systems. Okay, so sometimes it is this self-evaluation that would help you to learn certain things. Let me give a short instance before I progress because I still have a couple of slides. So I began to take my life seriously, very seriously in the year 2016, and I was in 300 levels at the time, I believe. I was in 300 levels at the time. So I put so much systems in school that made my life just flow at a very exciting frequency. But coming home, it was very difficult. I could wake up in the morning in school, when I was in school, wake up by say 4 o'clock, pray, study till maybe 6 o'clock, and then prepare and go to school. But at home, I had younger siblings that needed to be woken up, prepared for school, made breakfast for, and sometimes taken to school. If my dad rushes out in the morning, sometimes they just say, okay, drop them at school. So it was difficult. And then I saw myself going through the day. When I'm done with all that, I come back home, there are chores to do, and I'm done with the chores and I'm tired. It's already afternoon, it's time to pick them up. And by the time I'm back from picking them up, the house is rowdy. You can't even sit to think. And days and days and days, and I'm not doing much. And it was eating me up because I had already come to that place where I had already gotten used to the system of doing something productive for myself. So it was a lot of issue for me. I had to sit back and tell myself, tell myself some things, and because at the point I noticed that I was telling myself, man, I can't wait to leave this house. I just cannot wait to leave this house. What is all this? Okay, so this is something that happens. It happened without my knowledge, but the introspection, the time of self-evaluation was a little bit intentional, because as I noticed those thoughts, thank God for the Holy Spirit who began to tell me that, hey, you cannot you cannot always expect that the situations will be at your own um, expectation, at your own frequency before you can be productive. Sometimes you have to learn how to find a way to make the unpalatable environment work for you. Okay, which is the whole concept of being proactive to start with. So he said, you can't just keep waiting, because you're going to get married, you're going to have your own children, you're going to run your own establishments, businesses, maybe careers, and pursue your life. tend your husband, tend the family, tend your friends, tend your assignments and all that. You are going to get busier than this. So you have to find a way to be productive in the midst of the seeming chaos. And so I sat back and I began to think and think and think and try to find a way to make things to work out. Okay, so I said, okay, I'm going to try and do this between the hours of 9 to 12. These children are not at home, so I'm going to see what I can do within that period of time. It wasn't always easy, because sometimes mom will not sit back at home and then you have to just so it wasn't always easy to be consistent in pursuing that path. But what it did to me, that it made me to stop assuming that being at home was the reason for my drawback. I am the reason for my drawback. Yes, there are circumstances around, but hey, have you found a way around it? Okay, so that's what proactivity is, but we're not talking of proactivity, we're talking of self-evaluation, discovering better insights to aid future goal setting. It really helped me. You become more accountable to yourself. You begin to tell yourself, okay, I said I was going to read 36 books. This is December. I've only read 10. Why? And how can I make sure I don't do that next time? Or you set this goal and say, okay, I'm going to read 36 books this year, 3 a month. And then in the month of January, you read 3. Bravo. February 3. Awesome. March 1. April 1. May 0. By the month of June, you want to sit back. Now, this is not saying you are doing this quarterly or every 6 months. No, that's not the point. The point is that a point at a certain time, you sit back to ask yourself, how have I fared so far? Why am I where I am? And how can I make sure that I keep to my goals? I keep to what I said I want to do. So if I said I want to do 3 books a month, how can I ensure I do 3 books a month? It helps you to become more accountable to what you're doing, and then helps you to find better ways of getting even better and better. So next we're going to talk about this very interesting and exciting, sorry, just trying to move this around. So when it comes to when it comes to self-evaluation, self-appraisals, there are practically 3 things I believe that when you sum up these 3 things, when you can pay keen attention to these 3 things, you would be able to total the journey of personal or self-evaluation. Three aspects of your introspective thinking and evaluation, that if you are able to attend to them, you would have done a very holistic job in fleshing out the beauty of the past to find a way to implement it in the future and in the present, actually in the present against the future. So one of it is your achievements. When you want to evaluate yourself, one thing you should ask yourself is, what are my achievements? Now, for those of us in the inner circle, you want to ask yourself, in the year 2021, January to December, today or whenever you'll be doing this, what have I achieved? What am I proud of? What did 2021 have to offer me that I am super excited about, that I am so proud of? What heights did I attain? What struggles did I overcome? What new things, levels, spiritually and otherwise, did I step into? Did I maximize my prophetic gifting? Did I become a better student of the word? Did I become a better friend, reaching out to more friends rather than just waiting for them to reach out to me? Okay, did I let go of the hurt? Did I let go of that pain of maybe rape that happened years ago, or a divorce, with your parents divorce that happened months ago, or what heights did I reach? What blessedness did I get into? What drawbacks did I surmount? What obstacles did I leap over? What are my achievements? Okay, it could be in any and every aspect, and that's why a deep introspection is very important to make this work. You want to find out, okay, what exactly did I achieve? Did I take courses on a particular, did I learn a new skill? Did I come into the year 2021 a broke person, and I'm living as someone who has um a fairly steady stream of income that is at least footing my bills? That's an achievement. So don't wait for whether you won best employer of the year, or whether you had a child, got married. Those are awesome achievements, but hey, the little wins, they count. They count so, so well. You let go of the pain, you let go of the hurt, you stopped being a proud person, you learned humility by the grace of God. You changed your wardrobe. Hello, you changed your wardrobe. You, I don't know, acquired a new property. You stepped into deep waters. Like this year, I know one or two persons who started YouTube channels, and who just started putting themselves out there. That's something. You started something on your own. No matter how little it is, even if it was a 30-day challenge you did, and you were faithful, 100%, 90%, 80%, it's something to celebrate. Why achievements are important to note is because more often than not, we are bound to, especially when you are so goal driven and so result oriented, you are bound to focus so much on how much you've done, how much you are yet to do, that you forget what you've done. So you do certain things, you make some wins, and you're like, okay, done, on to the next thing. That's not very healthy. Some persons preach it. They tell you, come on, if it's done, close it, move on. That is awesome, but it's not very healthy. And there's a balance to it. Nobody's asking you to self-gloat in that achievement. Okay, nobody's asking you to 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 remain in that place, that position you were when you won. You can't say because you got first in SS2, you remain in SS2, you will not move on to SS3, or because you came out with you had straight A's in your part 3 or 300 level university, then you will not progress again. No, but you celebrate the win, however little. You may not throw a party. Okay, you may not throw a party, but hey, you could dance around. You can give yourself a high five on the mirror. You can use your status, your WhatsApp or Instagram, Facebook, and just gloat and celebrate yourself. But celebrating that win prepares you, because when you celebrate, when you achieve something and you recognize it, you release a lot of feel good hormones that now boosts your willingness and your drive to do more. But when you always subdue your achievements, and in a mask of false humility, you think that subduing the achievements makes you a better, humble person. It doesn't. It only makes you an unhealthy, a mentally unhealthy person. Okay, but when you celebrate your wins, you release the motivation for the next one. And that's why you don't gas out easily. That's why people who love themselves and celebrate themselves hardly get depressed, because hey, I did it. There is an evil adage that says that when the lizard falls from a tree, from a height to the floor, it looks left, looks like right, doesn't see anybody to congratulate it. It will nod its head in approval, like, yes, I'm alive, I'm still doing this. Okay, that's what we need to do. We need to begin to congratulate ourselves. So while nobody's asking you to remain in that place of success, because the enemy of your future success is your present success. Nobody is asking you to remain there and build a castle there. But hey, recognize it. Recognize that you did something worth applauding, no matter how little it is. And that will be the motivation and the drive for the next things, okay? So we've said a lot about achievements, and we'll move to the next thing, next very important thing to appraise, to evaluate while you do it. And that is okay, I need to move this again. Acceptance. And you're learning. What have you learned? What have you learned in the year 2021? What lessons did you learn? What lessons did you learn from disappointments, from mistakes, from successes, from experiences, from backstabs, from life in general? Okay, if there is one thing I personally learned this year, which just came to mind, I think I should just share it, is I learned that, okay, I learned this from one of our pastors. One of our pastors. So when I was serving, I served this year, served my fatherland this year. So when I was serving, at the church I attended, they rotate ministers. So within the duration I was there, I sat under three ministers. The first one was just leaving, the second one came, stayed for like 6 months or four, or probably 6 months, and then the last one came in. So the second one who came in, there were a lot of things that I didn't just, we were not really connecting on the same frequencies with, okay? But one thing stood out for me, which was the way, the moment he came, he hit the ground running. He didn't wait and say, I only have 6 months here, but let me not stress myself. Let's just do normal church until my 6 months is over. Let me go to my permanent site and pour my energy there. The moment he came, he started doing things, started buying stuff. He said, okay, this thing doesn't look nice yet. Changes it, painted the church because it wasn't, the interior wasn't painted as at the time. So he painted the church, he changed some instruments, he made, my God, I was like, whoa. Trust me, that was that was like a very exciting thing for me, because I was someone who I can be very dedicated, but sometimes when my mind is not there, you will not like me because I'll be there, but I won't be there. You will know that this woman has potential, but I won't give anything because my mind is not there. So when I saw him, I knew that, okay, this has to change. I need to be that person who, once I step into a place, I hit the ground running, right? So that's something I learned. So it's not like it's a disappointment or it's a backstab, but this is what life and interactions with people taught me. So what have you learned in the year 2021? Piecing out your learnings, bringing out the things you have learned would help you to know how to implement them in other areas of your life. Okay, now like this instance I just gave about myself. Now I've left the environment entirely and I'm in a new environment. I already know that I am hitting the ground running. This is not because I heard an audible voice from God, and it may not be because I like or don't like the place, but it is not because I understand that the king's matter is a matter of urgency. The king's business is a matter of urgency. It's a scripture, so you can go find it. God would not put me in a place for me to lazy about. And so if when that happened, I repented of all the other times I was lax because I didn't like one thing or the other in the church. And um, I picked up the lessons, and now I'm not going to be doing things but because I like or don't like it. I'm going to be doing things, because that minister, that pastor just inspired me, and he showed me that this is the light, this is the truth. He never said it on the message in the pulpit, but I learned it. So, and now I know how to apply it both in work, in church, and wherever I find myself. So what have you learned? Sit down, analyze, and script it all out. How have you become better informed, better talented, better, how what new virtues have you inculcated, have you learned from the past months? It's very important. It helps you to prepare yourself. It helps you to know your key transformations. And this is also very important. When your learnings or what you've come to accept is a picture of your new mindset, of your mindset. So if someone says that, man, 2021 dealt with me, I had like a lot of heartbreaks. In fact, what I've learned is that men are not to be trusted. What do you think they are saying? They are voicing their mindsets, they are voicing their thought patterns. So when you come to that point and you see yourself putting down things that are not exact, because hey, there are people who have awesome relationships. So if something is wrong with your own and you're having 7 heartbreaks, yes, you need to check yourself very well. Check the way you pick your men or your women. Okay, so the point is, when you write out your learning, when you write out the things you're learning, you actually point your mindset, your either new or old or refurbished mindset on paper. And this will help you to know whether you are thinking right, you're thinking straight, or if there's a need to, revamp. Okay. So this bringing us to the next one, I would have to move myself again to somewhere here. Okay. I love this one. Abandonment. What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to dump and dunk? What are you willing to trash? What are you willing to throw away? What are you willing to stop doing? What baggage are you willing to drop off? Okay, because when you see a razor doesn't have you see them with very light. They travel very light because there is a sprint or there's a marathon. They need to be light. They need to travel light. So if you are traveling with a lot of luggage, not only will it slow you down, it's going to sap your energy, and that is really not what you want of yourself. So it's very important to keep track and ask yourself, what has happened in 2021? What have I been dragging along through the year that I need to let go of so I can become lighter and run, and continue my pursuit? What are those things that are allowed to weigh me down? They could be experiences, traumatic experiences, or just vile experiences that you allow to weigh you down. It could be relationships that were not beneficial to you, but somehow you just found yourself attached to the toxicity, and it's time to give it up. Okay, it could be excuses you've been telling yourself. Okay, personally, there's this one thing I was supposed to do this month, and for some reason I just kept dragging feet. There's a lot of fear that comes when you want to step into a new into a now. There's a lot of fear that comes when you want to step into an unfamiliar terrain. Okay, so it's normal to have that fear, but if you keep giving yourself those excuses and you keep dragging those excuses with you, you will not go anywhere. In 2025, you'll be where you are. Trust me. So you want to ask yourself, what are those luggage, those baggage, those unnecessary weights I need to give? I need to let go of. Okay, what chains must I break loose of? What mindset must I give up? What have I been telling myself? I'm not worthy. Look at me. Who do I think I am? How can I even do this? Who will listen to me? You know, my very first webinar, it was stepping into very uncharted waters for me. I kept thinking, like, who will come? Who would come? What am I doing? Who sent me? I remember when I sent out the flyers, I was so jittery. I was like, God. I just told myself, you know what, babe, see, 50 people. If you can get 50 people, okay, no, not 50, 20. If you can get 20 people, it was not a paid course, so it was just a typical webinar, just the kind of thing we do at Hangout with Zoe. So, I remember telling myself, you know what, just if you have 20 people, 50 people, I was making the prayer, Lord, give me 20 to 50 people, I'll be fine. And when the day the webinar was to start, we were up to 100. I couldn't believe myself. I said, what's going on here? People listen to me. Where people actually pay attention to this. The funny thing is that after the webinar, I had to pull down the page for certain reasons. The group, I pulled it down for certain reasons. I've created several other personal webinars, and sometimes the same set of people keep showing up. They keep showing up. I remember on more than one occasions, different people have told me, wherever you go, that is where I will go. Because I just love listening to you. You just have it. I'm like, what, me? But when I was starting, I was like, who will listen to me? What am I trying to say? You're telling yourself a lot of trash by telling yourself that nobody listens to you, you don't have what to offer, you just this. Who are you? Why should anybody listen to you? It's not even like you're a pro in what you're trying to say. You're teaching people how to study their Bible, but it's not even like you've covered your own Bible. You're teaching them how to be fit, but hey, it's not even like you exercise every day. Why would they listen to me? You're telling yourself crap. You're telling yourself a whole lot of crap. So toss it aside, dump it, right? What projects are holding you back? This is very personal to me because I experienced it a lot. I experienced it firsthand, especially in 2019, yeah, in 2019, I did my personal um decade appraisal. So like 2010 to 2019, I sort of did an appraisal on it. And I noticed a lot of projects I had to drop. Projects that seemed awesome, that seemed excellent. People were getting blessed from it. Okay, people were getting blessed from it. I remember this particular one, you know, I think it was still around that. I can't remember when I started it. It was Zoe's Quiet Corner. So it was my own way of sharing to people the things that God was teaching me in my personal quiet time. So I share experiences, I share insights, I share lessons, I share um, new lights I get from these things. And I did it for like 4 to 5 years. And when the season of that project came to an end, it became a drag. Something that was so effortless, so seamless, like it to a point where I used to have a lot of things to share. I'm like, okay, I now start, telling, I just spread it across the days. And but this time around, it became a drag. Not because I wasn't getting insights and inspirations and new lights and Rema and all that, but the season was over, and this was just a backlog. This was just a backlog for me. It was just a drag. It was just a drag, and I had to tell myself, okay, the season of this pain is over. It's time to drop it. It's time to drop it. And so if you look at the screen, I have some tips for you on how to know when a project is due for abandonment. Many times we keep dragging projects that we should have long tossed aside. We keep dragging jobs that we should have long tossed aside. We keep dragging careers that we should have long tossed aside. And what these things do is that they just limit us. They prevent us from doing the things we really need to be doing. Okay? And they just stall us, right? So the first thing on my list is when it no longer adds to your life. So you used to do something, it gave you a lot of excitement, it gave you a lot of spark, it gave you a lot of joy, a lot of insight. In the course of doing it, you were stretching, you were becoming better, you were growing yourself, and all of a sudden, it's just a drag. It instead of it to motivate you, it depresses you. It just puts a lot of strain on you. You just do it. You just tell yourself, well, let me shall be doing it. It's no longer good for you. It's toxic to your well-being, both your mental health, your future, the generations that are waiting to drink of the abundance in your life. It's not good. So it's time to drop it. Okay? If it creates undue pressure, there's a difference, according to my mentor, DDK, there's a difference between chaotic stress and creative stretch. So the creative stretch is what you get when you are building yourself, when you're increasing capacity. But the chaotic stress, which is the pressure, undue pressure, is the one that demoralizes, depresses, stresses you out, and just keeps you wishing you didn't have to do this anymore. When it comes to that, it's time to look for the dustbin and toss that idea there. Just toss it there. Maybe it will resurrect in some years' time, but as at now, it's not good for you. Okay, when it's inspired by people pleasing, you just want to please people. Okay, people have been applauding you. They say, only you one, only you how, only you one is doing this one, doing the other one, doing the other one. Now you, we they learn from you. I beg, I won't be like you when I grow up. And so they're giving you all these laurels, and now it's time to let go. And you're like, nah. What will people say? No, they've celebrated me for this thing enough. So I just think I should just keep doing it. No, you shouldn't keep doing it. You shouldn't keep doing it. Maybe one of these days I'll do something on purpose, but then you shouldn't keep doing it. All right? Purpose and assignment. You shouldn't keep doing it. When you do it to prove a point to yourself or prove a point to people, it's time to let go. It's not helping anybody anymore. When you do it and it's not relevant to your new season, like I talked about Zoe Quiet Corner at the time, the season was over. It was clear. It was clear. And I dragged it for 1 year. I dragged it. I dragged it. I dragged it. For one full year, I I'm not sure that year I dragged it. I made up to 20 posts. I'm not sure I made up to 20 posts. Yet in another year, I made over 100 posts. Do you see? So when it is not when it is not for you, when the time is over, you know when the season is there. There is grace, there is inspiration, there is speed, there is encouragement, there is all the resources for life and godliness provided for you. Okay. But when the season is done and it's gone, man, everything is a stress, everything is a drag, everything is a drag. It's a different thing when you're doing something and you get discouraged. Discouragement is different. Discouragement is that you're not seeing results. That's not a reason to quit something yet. But when it becomes a drag, when it's no longer adding value to you, instead you do it and you're frowning, you do it and you are cursing everybody, you do it and you wish you weren't doing it, then it's time to call it quits. So these are what I have for us as pertains to self-evaluation, self-appraisals, finding out how well you've done, to know how better you can do what you've learned, to know how much more you can employ what you've learned into your life, and of course what you have been dragging along that must give way so that your better, most excellent self can turn up. So thank you very much for being a part of this. I would just end stop sharing this. Yeah, so thank you for being a part of this very exciting experience, and I hope that you learned one or two things. I'm very certain that you did, and please put them into work. If you're in the inner circle, you know that I'll be expecting to hear from you. I'll be expecting to see you, putting yourself out there and becoming a much, much better person, fleshing out the results, fleshing out the experiences of your 2021, and putting it into this new informed and reformed parcel that will make you have a better, more efficient, more productive, and more proactive 2022. Thank you so much. I remain Esther Zoe. Peace out. Thank you for showing up, Joe.